And we are going to get going. I'm just moving my windows around so I can see people. Okay, so today we're going to talk about agent and team websites. Really, team websites are just a few little tweaks in there. So if you are not on a team, just be patient because it's really just a few things that we are going to talk about. And hopefully we're going to get into some blogs and custom pages. But as a reminder, in 2 weeks, we are going to go over more of an advanced, things with your website, just to kind of give you a little bit of differentiation if you want to have it. What we're going to do today will get you set up to at least have a functioning website. Couple of things. Because we're going to be moving at a fast pace, you might not be able to complete everything on your site while we are going through it, which is why I'm going to be sending you the whole presentation and the recording. So please be aware of that. And again, any questions that you have, go ahead and put those into the chat. Just a little bit about me. I'm Sarah Herta. I'm your Regional Tech Director for Michigan Northern Ohio. I have been a realtor with KW since 2008. And I have lots of other fancy things that I do, but that's who I am. All right, if you're going to follow along with us, go ahead and log into agent.kw.com. That is the easiest way that you can get into Command. Okay, I'm only muting people for background noise. So if you're like, why is she muting me? That would be why. Okay, so a couple things on our new sites. So they are new and improved sites. And one thing I want you to keep in mind, have any of you ever maybe gotten a new computer and it's a different type of computer, or maybe it's a phone? Maybe you used to have an Android and you go ahead and you get an iPhone. It is a different platform. So when I say it's a different platform, what I mean is everything that you had from before is not necessarily going to automatically translate over. And we have that same thing with our new agent websites. They are a totally different platform. What's new on them? We have fun things like home valuation tools, mortgage calculators, featured vendors. We have blogs. We have the ability to create custom navigation menus. I did put that as experienced users only. That's something we're going to go over in 2 weeks. Some things that are improved that we did have the functionality before are things like featured listings that are dynamic, meaning things come on and off automatically. You can still choose to pin listings that you want to have on there, just like you did before. And the ones that you pin, you would have to manually remove. But otherwise, your featured listings and your featured testimonials are both dynamic. You do have testimonials that you can put in. The overall appearance is improved, and customization and build out options. Couple of housekeeping things. Need to make sure that you have your marketing profiles complete. So if you have not been into your marketing profile in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, whatever that is, you're going to have some areas on there that are not complete, meaning they were not required previously and they are now. So if you are a solo agent, not only do you need to complete all areas of that, you have to make sure that you have a photo and a logo, at least for your market center. And you have to have, well, you don't have to have, I would highly recommend, oh, Kita's drawing on the screen. That's kind of fun. You could have all of your social links on there and they will show up on your website as well. Now, if you are on a team, if you're an agent on a team, you also need to go in and complete everything on your solo agent or your personal marketing profile and all photos and logos and social links. But if you're the rainmaker on a team, you need to go ahead and complete what is new. It's called the team marketing profile. You have to make sure that all areas are filled out. That all has to be done before we even go ahead into the new website. And once we are in there, you can complete the team page if you are the rainmaker. So some things on marketing profile. I'm in Command on the right-hand screen here, at least on my side, it's the right-hand screen. And I'm going to come down, I click on my name, and I'm going to come down to settings. And I don't want to speak in Arabic today. We're going to speak in English. When I am in settings, I'm going to go ahead and click on connect settings and then marketing profile. So as a solo agent, I'm going to come in, I'm going to make sure first that I have my photo. Now it says things in here like it must be a JPEG or a PNG, smaller than a megabyte. And they like to say 360 by 360 pixels. I'm going to say to you, that means it's a square, just to simplify that there. Now, a lot of times, like 90%, if not higher, when we have an agent photo taken, it is not a square. It is usually a vertical rectangle. So we want to make sure that when you have your picture that you're putting in here, you crop it to be a square. Will it still work if it's not? Yes. But then I get calls, people saying, my forehead, my picture's chopped off at my forehead. That's because the system is cropping it into a square. So go ahead and save yourself some headache, crop it into a square, make sure it's smaller than a megabyte, okay? When you come down into your area, you're gonna fill out all of your information. When you get down to your phone numbers, if you are a Twilio user, I highly recommend that you put your Twilio phone number in the office phone number spot. Just a little side note there. Any URLs that you have, meaning any website links, need to start with HTTPS. Okay, so you need to make sure HTTPS is on there for every website. Now, part of the reason you can put your Twilio number as your office phone number is you still are going to have your brokerage phone number down below, and you need to have your brokerage logo. Now you can see mine looks a little bit squished here. That's just fine because it is going to show up perfectly everywhere besides this page. For Michigan and Ohio, we are very lucky that we don't have any specific legal footers unless your market center has one that they require that you use. Keller Williams always asks that you put in each office is independently owned and operated. Now, I will tell you, we had an agent in one of our market centers that stumped me a little bit yesterday because on her website, it was showing a different market center here on her website at the bottom. And that is because it was put into this area. So make sure it's either blank or that you put in each office is independently owned and operated. Now, one quick thing that I skipped over a little bit here is the bio. Now, my bio is like at least a page long. I shortened it to put here because whether it's going to a postcard or a website, which our marketing profiles will, I don't want something huge. So I put something small. And I'm calling this out because this is now required. It has that little red asterisk there and it's required for the website. You want to make sure that you have something in there. Hey, at least put in, you know, realtor specializing in residential real estate in and put your town, okay? You want to make sure that you have something. One other thing while we're still in here is if you have any military affiliation, go ahead and put it here. It will not show on your website right now, but we don't know what will happen in the future. It does show up on some of your profiles. So not only are you going to go ahead and pick whichever is applicable to you, but you can then also choose the military service on the right, and you will have all the US military services first, and then you will have every other country. So that is right there. When you are done with all of this and you put in all of your social profiles, again with HTTPS, you are going to go ahead and hit save. People tell me they hit save and then they say that stuff isn't sticking. And so I go through it with them and I make sure they hit save and they're like, oh, look, now it works. So I always point it out, please hit save. I am not going to hit save because I changed my military information on here. But you want to make sure that you hit save. Now, again, talked about teams in a second. We're going to go through that, but we want to make sure we do everything on our agent side first. So please, please, please make sure all of that is filled out. If you want to follow along and fill it out later, that is fine, but please make sure that you do that. Couple of things before we upgrade your site. If you haven't, you can choose your own subdomain or create a new one. You will lose all custom pages and landing pages that were on your previous Keller Williams site. Remember, I told you this is a different platform. So if you want information that is on one of those pages before you do any of this, please make sure that you copy any text, copy any photos, copy any hyperlinks, anything that you want to put onto a new page that mimics that old page. You want to do that first. Because if you go ahead and hit upgrade and all 5 little boxes that say that you understand you're going to lose all your info, you're not going to be able to get it. Also, any landing pages that you had on your previous website, if you don't turn them off now, they will be live for however long that they are live for. Until Keller Williams shuts down that whole other system. You will not be able to delete them or edit them, so do it first. Now, I put on here, all agents will need to upgrade to the new sites in early 2024. I have heard or seen on a screen when someone was upgrading that it said the end of March, but they have not given us any other direction on that. Okay, any questions before I keep going? Okay. Now, if I go down to the consumer applet in Command, it's all the way at the bottom, and mine's not going to look like yours if you have already upgraded. But I will show you what it looks like when you are done. When you click on the consumer applet and you have not yet updated, you're going to see this little thing with 3 little stars. It says upgrade my website, and it lives kind of over to the right in the top area. If you don't see that button, you've either already upgraded or you were onboarded to Keller Williams after the change was made. So you will see a screen like mine with the big blue banner that says manage my website. What you're going to do if you need to upgrade is click upgrade my website. There's going to be several screens. I believe there's at least 5 different things where you have to check a box and click a button. Please read through all of that. It is going to tell you repeatedly that you will lose all data that was on your old site, because remember, it's a different platform. All right. If you have successfully done that, again, you are going to see the blue banner. While we are on this screen, if we scroll down a little bit, you're going to see what your website settings are. So the first thing is website. It is going to pull in what your previous website was. You could go ahead and update it to be a different URL or subdomain, but please note that if you have printed business cards or have marketed that website anywhere, you probably don't want to change it. But if you do, you could type something in and hit the save button. If you're ever looking for your consumer app URL, they have put that there for you so you can copy it. It's just a nice placeholder. And then down below, you have a couple of options where you can enable or disable Keller Home Loans, Keller Covered, and neighborhoods on your website. When you do any of those, you want to make sure you hit save. Personally, I leave Keller Home Loans and Keller Covered on because I don't want any client ever to say to me, why didn't you let me know about X? So I keep them on there. And at the bottom, you have forced registration, and you can choose unrestricted, meaning they can see an unlimited number of properties. They're never asked here to register on your website or app. They can see 10 properties, 2 properties, or none. And that's a personal choice, but you can control and change at any time how many properties that people can see on your website before they have to register. But whenever you make a change, you need to go ahead and click Save Changes here. Okay. Now, I'm going to jump back over to marketing profile for teams. Once you have done this as a team, or as a solo agent, what you want to do is go back to your marketing profile and then go up to your name at the top, and you want to choose your team. And Keller Williams does not want me to choose my team today. It is giving me an error code. Interesting. So that usually means they're doing something. but I did put a screenshot up here. You want to make sure that you complete all fields. It's not as long as the agent marketing profile. It is much smaller, but you want to make sure that you complete all of the fields that are on there and hit save. Once you go ahead and you do that, you will then go back up to the top, and right up at the top above the photo, and on the team one, it's not a team or a personal photo, it's just a team photo. You're going to go in and you can choose to update your subdomain to be a team site. So I could put sarahherta.kw.com or some other thing, teamsarah.kw.com, or I could transfer. And if I'm transferring, I'm taking everything that I did with sarahherta.kw.com and transferring it to be a team site. So I either choose update or transfer. If I choose transfer, it's going to pop up and ask me which one. And then I check the box and I hit to claim it. Before we jump in to the websites, I do want to show you one thing that is only available on the upgraded website, and that is the open house sign-in page. So I'm going to pick a property that's on my website just to be super fast, and I'm going to come up to the top to the URL bar. I can't zoom in on this because it's the URL bar, otherwise I would. But I'm going to type a slash and the word open, and I hit enter. And it takes anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds, usually it's pretty quick. And it is creating an open house sign-in sheet for me. So if I have a tablet or a laptop or something that I'm going to use, I'm going to go ahead and copy this URL, put that up, and at my open house, I'm going to show this screen. Now, the user can go in, they can look at all the pictures of the home, and then they will fill out their information. They have to hit the checkbox saying that they would allow the agent to contact them about the property, and then hit submit. The only difference on a team website is when you do this, as soon as you put slash open house, a pop-up window will come up and it will ask which team member is hosting the open house, and then every lead from that open house will automatically go and be assigned to that team member. Otherwise, functionally, they are identical. When you go back into Command and you go into your contacts, what you are going to need to do is create a smart view of contacts based on a lead source of open house site. You will see that pop up when you start to type open house, and then create that smart view, and you can easily find all of the people who signed into your open house. If you need more help with that, let me know, or contact your Market Center tech trainer because they can help you set that up very easily. All right, are we ready to jump in? Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our consumer applet, and we are going to click Edit My Website. When we do that, a new tab opens up in our browser. It is called Brightspot, basically. And once we are in Brightspot, we are going to look at a little bit about what this looks like here, right? If you have not created anything yet, you are going to see these 4 options: page about the agent, page blog list page, page homepage, and form contact, and it'll say your name. Okay. Those are the default pages and forms that are in there. Now, the About the Agent page, we'll talk about a little bit, but we really can't modify anything other than adding vendors. The blog post list, that's if you want to reorganize any blogs that you have created. Okay. Blogs are fantastic for increasing your SEO, your search engine optimization. It's unbelievable. Our new websites already get increased search engine optimization, but blogs really, really add to it. You can add custom pages to your site, any page that you want really in there. You can also have landing pages. The difference between custom pages and landing pages are like the flyer under your windshield in the parking lot. Okay, it's not tied to your site at all. And there's a lot of templates to create pre-created pages. All right, we are going to start with the home page. So if I come over into Command, into Brightspot, I'm going to click on Page, Home Page. And when I come in here, the view is a little bit different, right? So everything that we're going to do or modify is on the left. and everything, a preview is in the middle. And then the right just shows us all of our revisions, right? But everything that we do is going to be on the left-hand side. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to start with number 1. I changed the name of mine. So it says ready for your next move up at the top. I believe the default is let's find your dream home. If you would like to change what it says, you do it right here where it says title, and that will change what is printed up at the top above the search bar. Now you can't change the search bar. You can't change the fact that it's buy and rent, and you can't change what it says inside there. The only thing that you can change is what it says above it. Now there are 3 default images that show up for everyone, and those are called fallback images. And what that means is you can upload up to 5 photos that you would like here. If you only upload 1, it will be a stagnant image that won't move. If you upload up to 5, then every 10 seconds or so, they will scroll through. One thing that you want to make sure of is what's your price point, right? What's your branding? Do your photos match your branding? Does your search match your branding? I have included in here, so when you get this PDF, you're going to see there's article resources in here, and these are hyperlinks. If you have questions, it's just a really nice place to start, so you're not waiting on anybody else. So that is in there for you if you just click on the red text. So a couple of things in here. Again, the left side your work area, the right side your preview area. If you wanted to upload a file, you're going to either choose upload files, or if you've already uploaded them, add image. When you choose upload files, it will bring up a window. You will say you're going to choose that. You're going to pick a file from your computer and add that in. That adds into this box of, you can see mine are all loading in, of images. Now I will tell you one thing, this gentleman with the white beard, everybody has him. I don't know who he is or why, but everybody's got him in there. So if you're like, who's this guy? I have no idea. He's just seems to be on everybody's.
It's Santa.
I know, right? It's like, well, he needs a hat. I don't know who he is, but everybody's like, who's that guy? Some guy. Once you have an image in here that you like, you can just click on it and you will see that it adds in. Now this is going to give me more than 5, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it because it's not going to like it. I can choose to save now, or I can save later, and that will bring me back. So I've got to reopen up the home page. Okay, but that is number 1. All you're doing is uploading pictures if you choose to, and changing your text. So a couple of years ago, I moved to Savannah. So that's why you're going to see I have a mixture of Savannah and some interior shots, and I live near the beach and all this fun stuff, right? So I put things in there just so that my site emulates where I am out of. You would probably want to put things that are where you are out of. Okay. Things to think about with your images. First of all, you want to make sure you're always using copyright-free, royalty-free images. I suggest you take the pictures yourself, because then you know. Otherwise, you can use things like Shutterstock, Unsplash, Pexels, Pixabay, Freepik, a whole bunch of different ones. Just make sure that you are choosing, I prefer free, but royalty-free and copyright-free as well, images. In Designs and Command, there's over 100 different copyright-free, royalty-free images that you can find. Larger images will work better. A lot of times people will say, oh, but my image is so pixely. And that's because it was saved at such a small resolution and size that it is never going to get better. It is always going to be pixely. So making sure that you have a big enough picture, and just know it's a default of 5. Okay. Or sorry, a maximum of 5. One last thing on here, once you upload at least 1 photo, these fallback images disappear. They are considered fallback, right? They go away if you start uploading your own. So if you're like, where did they go? That's why. If I went in and deleted these 5, these 3 would pop back up, right? They're never going to leave you without an image. but just in case you're like, I don't know what happened. That's why. Okay, so that's section 1.
Sarah, let me ask a question on that, please.
Yeah.
So if I add one picture to that, the other 3 go away, and then I'm just left with the one that I added.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want to be
Correct.
sure.
Yep. And if there's one, obviously there's no transition. It just stays stagnant the whole time. The second little area here is called featured properties. I think this is so cool because, well, first of all, you could hide it if you choose to. Almost everything except for the search area you can hide. You can change the name, the title that comes up. So mine, if I zoom in here, it says featured properties, check out our featured homes, right? That's because I put the title as featured properties and the description, check out our featured homes. You can change that to be whatever you would like. If I scroll down a little bit, you'll see I have basic or dynamic. So if I never want the system to automatically pull listings in my area from the MLS and take them off when they're sold, then I would go to basic and henpeck the ones I want. Sounds like a lot of work to me, so I'm going to keep it at dynamic. Now, the location, because you guys, a lot of you guys, especially if you're near Detroit, have an issue where Canadian listings show up. And that is because the center point chosen, which the default is your market center address, and the search radius miles. I want you to think of it this way. The location center point, picture a map, and where is the pin on the map? What address are you choosing for that? And then the default, I think, is like 50 miles or some 25 miles. So think of a radius going out from that pinpoint. And guess what? Most of you are in Canada or you're in the water and it's pulling in Canadian listings. So you need to either change your location. This doesn't show up anywhere. It's just a map to pull these from. So I picked a random address in my area. If I click on this, you can see that's the market center that my license is held at right here, the commercial drive. I chose an address in my neighborhood. It's not necessarily intuitive, but as soon as I click on this, I do have a blinking cursor here. So I could start typing whatever address I wanted to start typing, and then Google will start to come in and it's going to start to pull addresses, right? And I could come in and choose a different address. Easy peasy. So if you are having issues with Canadian listings, you got to go west. All right. The next thing is max number to display. That means if I go over here, you can see that I can keep pulling as many listings. I have mine set to 50. You could set it to whatever you want it to be. Then you have that search radius, again, how many miles around. Now I live in a city, so I don't want to go too far out. If you're in a rural area where I lived before here, it was 2-acre minimums. If I did 3 miles, it probably would only have like 10 houses, right? I've got to go in and I've got to look at my area.
I get my address set for the mommy location and I save it and then I go to look at my website and it has everything from like North Ridgeville and Berea, which is like 2 hours from me.
What is your mile radius?
20-mile radius from mommy. And I hit save and then when I go to look at my website, I'm getting Middleburg Heights, Rocky River. So all way outside of mommy.
That sounds like Ohio.
Yeah, I am in Ohio, but it's not pulling
Yeah.
listings close to where I'm at. It's pulling stuff near Cleveland.
I would double check your address. Do you have a street number?
I have 340 West Dussel and Maumee saved and max number of listings to display. I put 10 and then search radius, I did 20.
I would just change up your address.
Okay, I will try that.
Yep. Okay, the sort listings by, you can choose what order you want these to come in. Now, a lot of times we want to do newest on site. I like recently updated because it pulls both newest on site and anything that was like a price update. So I keep mine at recently updated, so that's the order that it pulls in. Now, let's say that I had my own listings or I had office listings that I wanted to feature first. I will use this button here. And just like before, I'm going to click in here. And even though the search address comes up, I'm going to start pulling by an address, right? I don't have a listing right now, so I'm just pulling something. But I can go in and pull whatever listing I want to pull, and it is going to populate that first. No matter what happens, it's always going to be first. You can certainly still scroll, but then once someone goes back on the page, it's going to be first. And you can put as many here and as many pinned listings as you would like. Okay.
But we have to manually put in our listings
Mm-hmm.
as a featured when we do get a listing, correct?
Yep, that is correct. And then you manually take it off once it's sold and you don't want it up there anymore.
Thank you.
Yep. Now, the next section here below, dun, 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 we are going to go through, and I haven't been keeping up with my slideshow. Sorry about that. My next thing here, when I look, there are additional ways to filter. So I can come in and I can choose, do I only want to show solds? Do I only want to show rentals? I keep mine on sale. I can also come in, the default just shows active, but if your MLS pulls coming soon, I would add in coming soon. I can just click on it and add it. I personally don't put pendings because they're not typically available anymore. The same thing is I can choose property types. If I wanted to, I could add in as many different property types as I want to add in. There's a whole bunch. And so that will start filtering in as well. Now, every time I make a change, it is going to add this little yellow bar. So don't worry about that. That just means it's a change that you made. I could go in and add bedrooms and bathrooms, which seems a little bit odd. But on mine, because this is a featured area, I added in things like a bigger home size. You might want to add in price point, depending on where you live, what makes sense. This does not affect anything in your search bar. People can still look all over the country at any type of home or any price range or anything. This is just what you're featuring on the first page. You could also pull by keywords. Just know that keywords, it searches the listing description. Okay, so that's featured properties. The next part is featured testimonials. Same as before, I could display or hide. I can change the title and the description, which I did because I thought it sounded a little bit happier to say, happy clients, hear what our clients have to say, right? So that's what I changed mine to. Now I could also do the same as I did with featured properties, where I could decide, do I want dynamic or basic? So again, dynamic, I have to go in, or dynamic, everything will pull in for me. I can sort by newest published date or oldest. I could say, how many do I want to show? So I put mine up to 50. Now you'll see it says 1 through 50 inclusive, but if I wanted more and I add into 60, it changes it. Because I had someone say, no, mine won't let me go higher than 9. I said, oh, yes, you can. Just change the number. I recommend, just like I did with featured properties, is maybe do a little bit of filtering. So let's say that Brent and I had a transaction together and Brent was not happy with me. Or maybe he was just disgruntled at the lender, but it came back on me. And he was only going to give me a 1-star review. Well, that's very valid, but I might not want it featured on my homepage of my website. So there's a lot of different things that I can filter by, but I chose star rating and I said that I wanted to show, I don't want to see anything featured on my first page that it's lower than a 3. You could say 4, you could pick whatever it is that you want, but you can do that. And just like featured properties, I could go in and pin them to the order that I want them in. So if I look, I have Carrie first, Amit second, and Michelle third. So if I go in and I look at mine, Carrie's first, then Amit, then Michelle, and then you'll see that the other people come in afterwards. Now, where these come from, a little bit different. If you had testimonials on your old website, they show up back in Command and Consumer under testimonials. But what you would need to do is come over to the right, look at the full review, and you're going to basically do some copying and pasting. right? Remember that was one platform, this is another. So the system is bringing them in for you so that it's a little bit easier. But what you're going to do is go to your website like you're a consumer. And I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger here. And under the More tab, you're going to see it says leave a review. And this is where you'll put their first name and their last name. It's never going to show their whole last name. It will only show the first initial, location, when they were your client since, and you will paste in the review and you will add in the stars. My recommendation is you never change anything. If they gave you 2 stars, you put 2 stars. I don't want Brent calling me up saying, Sarah, I gave you 1 star and you put 5. That is how featured testimonials work. Now, you don't get a notification when somebody gives you a testimonial, so I recommend put it in your calendar. Maybe once every other week, you go in and just check your testimonials, or after you have a closing or something. So just a little bit about the testimonials so that you can have this for later if you couldn't remember what certain things were. All right. Huh. That's very bizarre. Okay. The last thing I wanted to show you before we go into custom pages is your blog. Blog on here shows this. You've got display or hide. This is just on the front page. You can change the name. I personally didn't care for the original name that said something like My Blog Buyer Resource Guide. I don't just work with buyers, and I don't like the word blog, so I changed mine. Ruby, you can giggle at me because these people don't all know me like you do. I'm a little particular. So I changed mine to say real estate resources. And then I changed it to say learn about buying, selling, and careers in real estate. You can change yours to say anything you want, but that's what shows up in that area. Then, just like every other thing, you can choose dynamic or basic. There is an advanced in here, but I would suggest you leave it at dynamic. You can sort them alphabetically if you choose to. You could sort them by newest or oldest published date. You can say, how many do I want to show? Now, there is a separate blog page. So you might say, I only want to highlight a few on my main page. I recommend that you never show less than 4 because it's always going to show 1 big one and 3 little ones. Now, everyone has 4 of them that are called part 1 through 4 of the First Time Homebuyer's Guide, and that everybody has on their website. Additionally, what you can do is you can come in like we did with testimonials, like we did with featured properties, and you can pin them if there's a certain order that you want them in. You just click on the plus sign and pick the one that you want. Now, I was showing something to someone the other day, which is this one down here, this last one. I did not add that. You can see that mine ends at part 4 of the Home Buyer's Guide, and you can see that it added this one beneath because I ordered all of them, but then any additional ones will follow behind it. Unless I went in and said, I only want to show 4 or 8 or however many, in which case this should change in just a second and just show the or not. We'll let that update to 4. One last thing on here, or I guess on here, is to make sure that you hit save. So I know it sounds crazy, but people forget to hit save and then they can't believe that none of their things came through. So you always want to make sure that you hit save and that you come back to this screen. Once you have done that, you can come back in at any time and look at it and make sure that it has all the changes that you want. You could also do a quick preview by clicking on this little square with an arrow that will open up a tab. It's not actually your live site, but it looks like your live site. It's saying it's a shared preview, but you can go ahead and see everything there. Anytime you want to go back to the dashboard, go ahead and click on the KW logo up at the top, and that will bring you back. You also have a hyperlink to your website right up here at the top. The only thing that you can change on the About the Agent page is, dun, 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 just gonna clear changes that I made the other day. The only thing that you can change on here is the preferred vendors. So if you look, it's just showing you can display or hide your profile, display or hide your details, display or hide your bio. Okay, those all come from your marketing profile. Under preferred vendors, you can choose, do you want to show it or hide it? And you can also choose, you'll see it's going to pop up here. If you want to add vendors, you have to click on this link. It's not very noticeable. You can see it says link and it's bold and it's got a little underline there. When you click on that, it is opening up something called Move Easy. And on here, you can add in any vendors that you would like. So you would just click add a vendor. You will fill out all the information for them. Now, oddly, it does ask you for their contact name, email, and telephone, but those do not show up on there. It basically just takes them, takes your clients to their website. Okay, so just know that that is there. Or you could say that you don't want to display them. As your market centers start to add in preferred vendors for the market center, you can decide if you want to show those or not with this little slider button down below. Okay, so that is preferred vendors. Again, you want to make sure you hit save. You can't change anything on the contact form or besides that on the About the Agent form. So that is setting up your KW website. And essentially that is everything that you need to do to have a functional website. I know that sounds crazy, but that is it. So any question before I go into custom pages, blog pages, and meet the team?
I do.
Okay.
I actually was trying before. I have my KW Lakeside logo. I also have my own logo with Keller Williams Lakeside in it also. And I tried to upload that and it wouldn't take. Now, am I only supposed to be using the Keller Williams Lakeside?
Are you putting this into your marketing profile or on the website?
That was a good question. It was a couple of days, about a week or so ago. Let me take a look here.
Whatever you put into your marketing profile will show up here on your website on the top left.
Okay. So it would be on my marketing profile then.
Yep. And then it always puts the generic KW logo at the bottom.
Perfect. I'll
Okay.
try that.
All right, so let's talk about custom pages and blog pages and the Meet the Team page. So the first thing is the home valuation. So home valuation is a new widget. I love these words. And it requires what we call a custom page. It creates a URL that can be used to capture leads. It captures name, email, phone number, and address. It will capture information even if the system is not able to capture a home valuation. Some of our more rural areas, well, some of our areas, it just is a little bit wonky still. No matter what, the customer only sees the value up on the screen. They do not get an email from you. They don't get anything. So please, please, please be on the lookout, because when people do this, you will get alerts in command and you want to make sure that you send follow-up. So I am going to show you how to set up the home valuation page. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is look up here on the right-hand side. You see quick start buttons, blog post, custom page, and landing page. For this, we are using what's called a custom page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now, what I want you to notice first, again, same as before, we're working on the left-hand side and our preview is on the right-hand side. First thing we have is what's called page title. But what I want you to keep in your mind is that page title equals what they call, lovely word, the slug of the URL. So my example here, I put my website, sarahherda.kw.com/home valuation with no space and no hyphen. Whereas you can see I've done this multiple times. This one, I have a space and a hyphen in between. Well, the space makes the hyphen. So what you put in here for page title matters, and we can hide it. So I don't want you to worry about what it looks like on the screen. So if I put in here, home space value, I can come up here to the top and click on URLs, and don't worry about all of this because this will be your website, but it will be home/value. And I want to make sure that you guys know that that is a thing, because a lot of times you want to tell people, oh, go to my website, sarahherda.kw.com/whatever it is. The page title matters when you have a custom page. Now, it is automatically putting that as an internal page, but you can certainly change that if you would like to. This is what it looks like on the back end of our system. And then you can go in and you can decide, what do you want this top area to look at? So you can see it says home value. I could add a background image in here. So I clicked on the plus sign, and then I'm going to click in this space where it says required. It is first going to pull up all of the images that I have already, or I could come down to the bottom left where it says image. I could click on new and I could follow the screen to upload from my computer. One thing I want you to know is that it takes a very narrow sliver of a photo for this section. So I uploaded one, so you can see this picture and this picture are actually the same, but I cropped this one to make it very narrow. Because do you see how big this is? It's like this little sliver. Now, again, if I decide to hide the title, it's going to get rid of home value being there. It actually gets a little bit skinnier. So please note that when you're choosing an image for there, if you want an image there. Now, the next thing on any custom page is I need to add what's called a module. So right now, the only thing that's happening when I go to create a custom page is the header. I have to choose the content that I want to add. So in this area, so I tried to put it, with some arrows. I want to click add module. So I'm going to click add module. And then I put another arrow, in this case, for home value. So I'm going to come all the way to the bottom. I'm going to say home value search component. And you'll see that this window opens. Now, I can't change anything on here except for essentially the title and the description. Saying ready to discover your home's value, let's find your home to get started. If I don't like that in there, I can come in and modify it, but that is the default. That is all that's part of that module. So I can then say I want to add another module. So I'll say add another module. I can choose from listing carousels, rich text. Think of that as any basic editor where I can add in text, hyperlinks, images, videos, right? I could go in and add in anything. That's called rich text module. I can add in stats. These stats do not pull for me, right? Because the system doesn't know exactly what I want to pull from each thing. So I'm going to create them. I can put in a testimonial carousel. I could put in a video, or I could choose from any of these options. So if I decide I want a form, you're going to see it adds a little box here that says form. And then I'm going to choose, and currently the only form that we have for now is the contact me form. So if I add that in, that's going to appear down below. Now I could keep adding, but what I wanted to remind you of is just keep a look on, do you want the page title in there? It'll pop up here on the top in a second, or do I want to hide it? And essentially that's that little bar. I don't feel the need to have it say home value and ready to discover, but you might. Okay, so there's my contact form and there's this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click publish. And it will yell at you if you have something that it doesn't like. although it's not telling me what it. Very curious what's going on in Command today.
It gets
It's always-
moody sometimes.
Well, I think it's because I'm on Zoom and I have like 500 tabs open behind us.
Can I ask a question about this?
Yeah.
Is there a way to make it like, so when you look at your page over on the right, the icons in the upper right hand corner, can you make it like a icon there if they wanted to click on to do their home valuation?
No, the only thing that you could do is you can add it to this section here. You can see it's under leave a review.
Hmm.
Unless you do what we're going to do in 2 weeks, which is a custom navigation menu,
Okay,
but you can't make it an icon.
that is the correct terminology I had, right, though?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so other possibilities that I wanted to give you guys with creating custom pages. There is one on here that's called YKW. You can add in a mortgage calculator. It's all done for you right here in this section. You could add things like School Finder or Great Schools. You could iframe in any other page that you want to add into your site, but have it on your site. You could, well, I say any other page. I have noticed some websites have settings where you cannot iframe them in. HTML, if you have a code, so for instance, like the Homekeeper blog, I know a lot of us have that. You can HTML, iframe that in. You could have video pages, events pages, market stat pages, listing carousels, image galleries, whatever it is that you want to have. All right, I want to switch over really quickly to blogs because we've only got 5 minutes left. Blogs, you're going to start with the blog post quick start button. Blog posts work a little bit differently, not totally, but a little bit differently than your custom pages. So if I just start typing, this is the headline, you're going to see it comes up here and it's bigger text. The subheadline goes underneath. It is smaller text. The only things that I can do with this is make it bold or italic or underlined, right? But it's always going to be smaller and underneath. You're going to notice before I get to this body, which is the rich text editor, I can choose to add a hero image. Whatever image that I add here is going to be the main, I'll put Mel Robbins in here. How's that? That is going to be the main image on my blog post. I want you to notice it does crop it because it wants it to be a rectangle. So please think of that. I chose a square so that you could see it will crop it, okay? When I share it to social media, that is the image that it is going to use. So I crop this from posting it onto Facebook. You can see it puts my whole title of my blog. It puts a little bit of the description. It's the headline and the sub headline and the picture. That all feeds right in. It looks great and it's driving people back to your website, right? We don't want your website to be a billboard to nowhere. We want people to know to go to it. So your hero image is very important. You can choose to add captions and credits to your photo that will go right underneath it. Otherwise, I'm going to scroll down to the body here. Anything that I put in the body is just text. Right? So this is the body of my blog post. I could take anything here. I could add in a hyperlink to it, right? So I want if people want to go and click on that. I can make it bold and italic. I cannot change the color currently. I can make it centered. I can make it bullet points or numbered bullet points. I can change the formatting a little bit. It gives me a couple of options, but not a whole lot. We have a couple of things here that I just want you to be aware of. So first of all, if I choose to put in cells, it's like a table, like a spreadsheet. I want you to know that you are always going to see the gray outlines. You can't get rid of them. But you can come in and you could add in whether it's pictures or videos or anything that you want into these squares. I'll stick Brooke and I in here. And you could go ahead and start adding in and building it out, but it will always show that gray bar. So if I had videos that I've already uploaded, or I could go ahead and upload new ones. You can put videos in there. You could do anything that you want, but you also don't need to do it into the grid. So if I just came in here, I'm going to say that I want to add in a video. And we'll pick that one. And you're going to see that that pops in. So these are still filtering through. It's thinking about it. But you can keep adding in as much stuff as you want in here. When I say that you can keep adding in things, I mean you have lots of different options. So gallery will show 3 photos at a time. It'll have a little scroll thing. You could choose playlist, you could choose videos, and so on. So you can build out whatever blog post that you want. The one thing that you cannot do is you can't add additional modules. So if you wanted to put like the home finder thing or something underneath it, you're not going to be able to add another module, blog posts or just blog posts. Okay. So you can add all of those things in there. But please know the more blog posts that you create, and I like to think of these as more market of the moment, the more that your SEO will increase, which means the higher that you will rank on Google. Okay, last thing here that I just want to share really super fast is the Meet the Team. And this works if you are on a team website. So really quickly, I'm going to switch because if I've already gone in and done the team marketing profile as the Rainmaker, I'm going to click on my personal name up at the top, and I'm going to choose my team website that I have created. Meet the Team page does not work too much differently than anything else. I'm going to choose a background image if I want one. I cannot get rid of the words company profile. I've been trying to figure that out forever. I can display it or hide it. It is going to put any sort of bio that you have right behind here underneath the logo. It will put any team bio that you have in there. It will automatically pull every agent of the team with whatever information they have in their marketing profile. So again, if they have social links, it will pull them in. If they do not, it will not. You can come in and pin them, and you can also, you don't have to, but if you pin them, you can also move the order in which they show up on here. And that really is the only thing other than preferred vendors, just like it was on the solo agent site, that you can go in and change. But that is the Meet the Team page. Again, just make sure you hit save. You can add in one last thing. You can add in additional partners. So let's say that you have a virtual assistant or a marketing person. You could go ahead and you could say create new, and you could go in and create all of their information, upload their headshot, and so on. So you can add in people who work with your team who are not necessarily Keller Williams. If you want to grab this today, you can. I'm going to make a few tweaks to it before I email it out, but you are going to get it emailed to you with the video of today. And I just wanted to make sure that you are aware that in 2 weeks, March 20th at 11 o'clock, we are going to do our advanced version. It's going to be an hour and a half long instead of an hour to give us a little bit more time, but I just wanted you to be aware that that is happening.